Hey everyone, the game I have for you today was played between myself and an unnamed opponent with the Black Pieces several years ago, and this game had one of the lowest accuracies you can possibly imagine in a chess game. And I'm talking below 50%. Not half of the moves that I chose were the correct ones, and that's something just remarkable to think about. Um, but yes, this was a crazy game, and it had a lot of moments, and I was both sides were winning up till the last move of the game. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the game here. I have the white pieces. I'm rated 1528 against 1591 rated Freyr, or Frey 1 hour. I'm not sure exactly. But anyhow, I start out the game with e4. We get d5, the Scandinavian defense. I take, and now we get this move knight to f6 here. And I play knight f3. We get the bishop pinned. I play the move bishop to e2 here. The knight takes, and here I play a slightly inaccurate move, which is castles. And now the problem is the knight jumps in and is able to attack my bishop. And I'm going to be losing the bishop pair probably. So I go here, h3. And now the first big moment of the game happens here. My opponent chooses to move the bishop to h5 instead of to e6 or to d7. And the problem now is that I have a way to double attack the bishop and the king here and take a couple of seconds to pause and find out the move. And yes, of course, it's not the move that I played in the game, which was queen to e4, attacking on b7, but rather the move queen to b5 check here, hitting the rook, the king, the rook here in the corner with queen takes b7 and the bishop here. And after a move like c6 or queen d7 defending, I can't take here as well because now after queen there leads to mate. But maybe after bishop takes here it would be okay for black. However, I could just take the free bishop over here, and that would be quite good for me. +5, I should be able to win this game quite easily. However, as I mentioned, I didn't find this move. Instead, I played the move queen e4 here, and knight c6 blocks the threat of queen takes b7. And now I play the move c3 because I want to play d4. Problem with playing d4 right now, of course, is that the bishop can chop, and then after the queen takes, the knight does take here, and I lose the pawn. Apparently here it's not so bad because of queen takes b7, but even queen takes d5, d4 here is good for black. So I don't do that. I go for c3 instead, and we have e6, d4, and bishop to e7 here. I play bishop to f4. These moves are fairly normal here. Queen d7, and my opponent chooses to long castle. The first kind of wrinkle in the game, and here I play the move a4. And my intentions are very clear. I want to go and attack the king over here. I'm going to play b4, I'm going to play b5, maybe a5, and I'm going to try to win this game. Very simple. So, we get the move h6, which is again a very clear indication of the preparation of the move g5 here to attack my pieces. But I play b4. Again, I'm just trying to get an attack going here. And so we get the move f5 now attacking my queen. And now I drop the queen back to e2, which is a bit of an incorrect move. You see, the only reason this bishop would be any good here is if it's pinning the knight to something. So why would I willingly move my queen to the one place where it's going to be pinned, right? And you can see this very soon becomes a problem later in the game. This queen on e2 just poses me a lot of difficulties later in the game anyway. It actually ends up giving me a bit of an advantage too, but that's because my opponent blunders. Anyway, so I go queen e2. Now we get g5. The bishop goes back to h2, and now we get this move g4, and suddenly you can see that my position is actually quite dangerous. And if you look at the evaluation, it disagrees. It thinks that white is much better, but white has to find the moves here. I think the strat is to trade on here, and after bishop takes, you're fine because there's no more threat of the pawn coming here to kick the knight out, so you could just move the queen. And if the pawn takes, now you should be able to play a move like knight here, and it's fine for a specific reason that I'll get into in just the next moment. So instead here, what I choose to do is I choose to play this move knight to e5, which apparently loses the game on the spot. Now, it's hard to notice why at first this game is lost. But you notice this bishop is here, this queen is here, and it's actually a very complicated tactic that neither of us saw over the board. It was not over the board, but during the game. And the idea of this position is for black to play the move g3. It's a very, very cruel move, and you attack the queen and the bishop here on h2. Now, why can't I just take this, right? Let's just look at that first. Now, the problem with that is after pawn takes h2, let's say king takes h2, now you can see the queen is under attack, but I can take the knight, and after d takes on e5, the queen actually captures on d2 here. So this last wrinkle is the one that both of us missed. And actually, I'm cleanly down a piece. I don't have a bishop. My opponent has a bishop. So I would be completely lost in this position. So that would be bad, right? So then you might be thinking, why can't I play another move? Why can't I take the queen over here, right? But after takes, again, pawn takes h2 with check. It's important that this move comes with check. So if the king was on h1, it would be a very different story. Because if the king was on h1, I could just take the bishop here. I don't react. After you take back, then I'm not losing my queen. I would be very happy. But I have to play king takes h2. And now after bishop takes e2, I have to play rook e1 to avoid losing my rook. And now after the trade of pieces, you can again see that my opponent has a knight for my knight, but also an extra bishop. So I would once again be down a piece and losing the game. So that's why this move g3 is so critical here. But instead, after I play this move knight to e5, my opponent decides to trade in the center. And now I'm actually completely okay. After this move, bishop takes e5, hitting the rook. The rook goes to the side. And now I play the move b5, sorry. Now, b5 is actually a very straightforward move. It's not the top preferred line of the computer, but I'm not going to pull my hair out over it because it's actually a very straightforward plan. The idea is, of course, you can't actually move this pawn here or here anymore because the bishop got out. So I'm just going to be able to take your bishop whenever your pawn moves. So I'm waiting for you to move your bishop, and once you move your bishop, then I can trade and I can play g3, put my king on g2, bring my rooks, or otherwise I'll be very safe. So I play b5, and now we get g takes h3, and my opponent actually just blunders the bishop here, or maybe sacrifices the bishop. I'm not sure which one it was. It was a long time ago that I played this game, but nevertheless, now in comes the move pawn takes g2. Now, you might think that the rook taking g2 is more natural, and I totally agree with you. I don't know why my opponent didn't do this. But after king h1, this seems a lot more natural to play as black because, you know, your rook is right here, and maybe you can play a move like bishop here. I don't know what the next best move is, but it looks a lot more natural for black than what was played in the game, which was pawn takes g2. Now, I play rook to e1, and now we get queen to d5 here. Just defending this pawn and trying to get in maybe with the queen. Again, there's no entry points, but I freak out here and I play the move queen to f3, which is fine. I'm offering a trade. Seeing as I'm up a piece, that's a good idea. The queen goes back to d7. And here, I play an interesting move. I play c4. Again, I'm just trying to defend my b5 pawn before I play the move a5. So ideally in this position, I would want to play a5, but that would lose this pawn, which I somehow thought was a bad thing, even though in this position after rook b1, I think I'm probably still quite winning. So I play c4. We get rook to g4 here, and now I play knight to b3. Again, I'm looking to get over here with the knight maybe, or maybe support a5. I'm just pretending that this entire situation over here doesn't exist because I feel like I'm fairly secure. But I miss my opponent's idea, which is after doubling, and I play this move a4, the rook goes to the side, and suddenly there's a threat of mate here. So I think for a while about how to prevent mate here, And you can see that my king has no way to get out because of the pawn. And obviously my queen can't block, and the rook is just going to get down here no matter what. So I have to play this move bishop to h2 to block. And then after the bishop comes out to attack my bishop, I don't know what to do because I feel like I'm just going to lose the piece here. And so what I ended up doing is... So I actually I had another idea here, which was maybe to play the move bishop to g3. The idea being after rook here, I can take the pawn now because the bishop is blocking the attack of the rook. And after you trade and say something like f4 never works because the queen can take, so you can never attack the pinned piece. So that's the idea of that move. But I didn't play bishop to g3. Instead, I played bishop to h2 here. And now I sacrifice the rook because I didn't know how to save the bishop and check and prevent checkmate if I don't sacrifice the rook here. So after bishop takes here, now my idea is that now my bishop is safe. It's no longer going to be a threat to get checkmated here. So, but this doesn't happen. After rook to e5 here, we get the move queen to g7, again putting more pressure over here. And now I have the option to play a move like queen to g3, offer a trade of queens and hit the rook. But I instead play this move a6 here. And this just instantly loses the game. You can see like the evaluation bar today is just having a real good time with like a roller coaster, like going up and down, fluctuating like the thermometer on a... I don't know, during global warming or something. I don't know. I didn't know where I was going with that metaphor. But in reality, I am threatening mate over here. So it is something worth noting. And I overlook the threat of black here, which is this insane move. Rook takes h2 because, again, once again threatening mate. And now I have to capture because there's no other way to stop mate. And now, actually, my opponent can just queen. And after rook takes, because of the double stack, queen takes here, king here, and if you count the material, it's equal, but this rook is hanging, and my king is on the very edge of the board here. I think you know who's winning, and it's not white. So, I missed that idea, and so does my opponent, and here he gets spooked and plays b takes a6, and now it's a draw. If I play the move queen to a8, king up, a queen here check, king here, and now I'm winning. If I can find the right move. I need to find I don't actually even know the move that I need to find. I didn't even look at this. So let's try to find it together right now. Maybe it's a move like c5. I don't know. That doesn't work at all. Okay. Maybe it's knight c5. Yes, knight c5 here. Because if you take with the bishop, now queen gets in here, and if you take the rook, again the same thing here. The queen gets in. And white is still winning. But the problem with the move that I played is that it loses the rook. And as you can see by the evaluation, I'm once again losing here because after king takes and rook to e1, my opponent simply has to find the move king to f7, and all is safe. All is well in the black camp. Their attack is still roaring through. I can't take here because I'm going to get mated. There's no more checks after the king. After the queen goes here, the king can go over here and hide over here, and the king will be completely safe. And so my opponent really just needs to find this one move with king f7, and instead they play the move king to f6 here. And now I'm once again completely winning, and now I find the move with bishop to e5 check. Insane move, skewering the king and the queen. The bishop cannot take like this because the queen is pinning the bishop to the king, and so this is a crazy move, a crazy find. Now I'm completely winning. I get to take the queen, and then I can, defend myself over here, and I can just win this game. So the king moves. And now I take the queen. Okay, I give a check. And then after the bishop blocks, now I take the queen. Okay, now I give another check. And now I take the queen. Okay, I mean, now there's no more checks that make any sense. Even if I go back to e6 here, now the queen is just going to block. So I have to take the queen. Okay, I finally do. King goes up. King here. Queen here, check. King goes back. And now, is there any way for white to lose this game, you ask? I could right now, I could take here right now. I could give another check. You know, all of this looks pretty good. King takes here. And now you think, wow, with this rook and this queen and this open-ass king, I should be able to checkmate. Nope. King h7. I'm now in a drawn position because I have to continue checking the king. And the king is just going to go back and forth. And if I don't do anything else, then rook to h1 is checkmate. So I have to repeat moves here with queen to f5. Okay, so the rook blocks. Let's go here. The rook blocks. Let's go here. And now the rook has to block again. Black has another critical moment here. The rook has to block. And because, you know, after here, the queen will just go back and we'll repeat and we'll make a draw, right? Because if the king goes back, sorry, I have to go back here. If the king goes back, now it's not so simple because now the rook can go back, deliver a check. The rook has to block. Now I trade, and after this, now this is a lot more simple. Remember, I still have this knight, and I actually have a queen for the rook here, and there's no more mate threats. I can take the pawn, I can give a check, and I can win this game. So that's the key move. I have to find the move rook to e8 check, and I win the game. How wonderful. This has been a good game, but finally, I play the winning move, queen to f8 check. And after the rook blocks, I'm once again winning. Again, the rook blocks here because he thought he was losing the bishop, maybe. If he goes up, I can't actually take the bishop because of mate. Remember, I can't take the bishop because of mate. So, but my opponent nevertheless blocks with the rook, and now I'm winning again. I think I just have to sacrifice the queen here. I sacrifice the queen, and I play rook to e8 check, king f7, and I take the bishop. I'm up a piece, and I should win this game. There's no tricks with the pawn here because the pawn's not defended. I can just take the pawn, and I should be able to win the game yet again here after rook to g8. And instead, I play the move queen to f5. Getting out of the way. Again, there were no more checks to the queen, so I moved out of the way. And I simply blunder mate and won.